family, welcome. You know, now at the Forum for Marginalized Industries, we just do not have just, what do you call it, don't be followers. We've got a family, we've got a community that we're actually built. And this is another segment of Beyond the Headlines, and I am Cindy Swashengyon, your host, and I am with my co-host Undombi Nkosi as usual, and we are so glad to actually welcome you back. In this particular segment, there's a lot of issues that you know that we normally deal with. The current affairs issues that in traditional media you find that they are normally fleeting. And we come here to this forum to actually look at issues that affect marginalized individuals and find current affairs issues that will be able to actually find a bigger expression and an opinion from, you as a family. Because I think what we need to do in this regard is that when we go through certain issues and when you find that issues of impetus are finding expression to you, please comment, please give us suggestions, please share, please like, please subscribe. We are here. I think we need to start now talking about issues more deeply, because issues that you find that are actually relevant in this country, they become very fleeting. We've got social media, we've got mainstream media, we've got other mediums, but in terms of unpacking those particular issues, you find that there seems to be a disparity with regards to being able to achieve that. So welcome. This is a second segment of Beyond the Headlines, and Dombi's here. Welcome, Dombi.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see you.
Likewise.
I'm hoping that today we're going to have another episode that, where we're going to really be drilling down on issues, where we are going to be talking about issues, and just urging our viewers, our family, our community to please engage. And Dombi, I think maybe tell them as well that we need some engagement.
Yeah. Greetings, our followers. One of the things that we have noticed lately as we are growing as FMI, we are noticing the interest. We are noticing that the people, more and more people, you people are interested in these topics that we tend to have, and we'd love for you guys to engage even more. You can comment on the comment section, whatever topic that we're going to be discussing. Feel free to comment and add your view. We are a family, like Cindy has indicated. We are a family, so your views matters. We are a family here. We are not followers or fan base. We are a family.
Thank you. So getting into the issue, Dombi, let's start.
Sure.
My goodness, the Afriforum lobby group. The Afriforum lobby group that went to meet with the administration of Trump, the US president, right? And the subsequent growing calls from various sectors that the same delegation, in fact of 4 men that went to the States and with the so-called a call for help for the Afrikaner community, and people are saying that they need to be charged with treason. And the Hawks have also confirmed that there's an investigation that is actually taking place with regards to investigating dockets of high treason with regards to these individuals, in terms of being able to spread the information in the United States with regards to the Expropriation Act. And so the first case that was opened was Umkhonto weSizwe, and we are seeing that this issue is actually now is finding an expression where it is actually causing division in South Africa.
Yeah.
We are a community that is divided. And for the longest of time, I think it was just something that had to come to the fore, where individuals such as those that are within Afriforum decided that they're going to have a delegation that will go to the United States and represent the Afrikaner community.
Minority.
And they are talking about the Expropriation Act and using the Expropriation Act and linking it to the killing of white farmers. When you look at this country in terms of the prevalence of crime that is happening, it affects everyone.
Yes.
It has affected me as an individual. It has affected you as an individual.
Yeah.
And then there's this issue that there is so much genocide happening in South Africa, that there is a whole hula baloo that is happening in South Africa, and simply because sometimes false information can be very misleading. And that's where I actually need us to actually start. Because this issue, to be very honest with you, when you look at social media and when you look at how different narratives have been created in the public domain, it's very disheartening and it's sad. As a black South African that is born in this country, as a black South African that are not finding it easy as well in this country, I am alarmed as an individual, and that is my opinion. And I'm very disheartened as an individual to actually find that you can't be playing a victim mentality. Because if victim mentality, that means that you are targeted. And my God, all of us are targeted in this country. So Ntombi, what is your take about it?
Yeah, okay. Thank you for this opportunity again. Cindy, this thing of Afriforum going to Donald Trump, this is not the first time. But this time, they even went as far as saying they're going to present evidence. In the last financial year, according to them, they're saying 5 farmers were killed. Versus what Minister Senzo Mchunu, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu is revealing that it was only 2. The other cases, it was established that the other cases, it was domestic cases. It was white people, like the couples who were fighting or killed each other. One woman is even appeared in court last week. She appeared in court last week. She plotted to kill the husband, and she was hoping to get money from the payout, pension, like a payout, a policy payout. So some of these, this is misleading. You are right when you're talking about that. I mean, South Africa, our democracy is like, we are so fragile. Like, we are coming from apartheid. We're still getting to know what we're doing as South Africa. We don't need this. This is the last thing that we needed. If this thing, my opinion, I think, if people wanted to say something, create a dialogue here in South Africa. This is something that we as South Africans, we can discuss and find solutions. There was no need to go to the US. Right now, the media is spreading the false narrative that these people have fed them, the Afriforum, talking about genocide. If you ask a person, what does genocide mean? Kali Krill was quoted last week. He was in a podcast. Kali Krill is from Afriforum. They asked him, what is genocide? Is this genocide what is happening? He then said, no, genocide, he could not even explain what genocide is. But they're busy spreading the lie, saying this white genocide. And this thing has divided people. White South Africans are not keeping quiet right now, like Afrikaners. They are saying, first of all, there's no war, whatever that is being peddled that side, they are not part of it. Most of them are distancing themselves. Then you find political parties, you find EFF, you find MK, they've opened a case. Treason is very serious. Like, if you found guilty, you are going to be put away. So I'm just looking at how this thing will unfold. The investigations from the Hawks, hopefully people, like, they will collect all the evidence. We've seen in South Africa where people will be arrested, and when they appear in court, they just get bails. So let's just wait and see what is happening, what is going to happen with this.
So, Ntombi, I was actually watching a podcast by far right-wing personality. His name is Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
And I think viewers, when you've got an opportunity to be able to actually watch that podcast, please watch that podcast. It's actually featuring one of the Afrikaner Foundation executive. His name is Ernest Roots. And in that podcast, he's actually proclaiming self-proclaimed individual who's got every knowledge with regards to the history of this country, and he's advocating for self-determination, he's advocating for self-independence. And he says that he was using Orania as a point of reference, that all that they are looking for from the states, they are not looking for citizenship. They are not looking for, at the time, I think when the podcast was taking place, Donald Trump had offered something before, saying that they can be able to come through as refugees. And then he turned afterwards and he said no, he can be able to offer them citizenship. But he was saying exactly the Roots guy. He was saying that we're not looking to perhaps maybe be citizens of America. What we are looking for is self-governance, is self-independence, it is self-preservation, it is self-determination. What is that? You tell me what is that? If you look at Orana right now, it is not inclusive. And he was actually even going down to the issue of the fact that a certain number of individuals in the country are paying tax and are feeding a large majority of citizens that are in this country. The whole thing, in terms of where I looked at it, and I thought to myself, my goodness, it is so disheartening because there is so much division. How does one individual come into a particular podcast? Anyways, I don't even blame the guy, because he was actually meeting his fellow counterpart who's actually a right-wing, person who is thinking in another level. In this person, this Roots, he claims to now advocate that there needs to be an independent type of a state where the Afrikaners will be able to live by themselves, govern themselves, do their own thing and whatever, as if they live in isolation. And then forgetting that in the midst of it all, I am not going to condone corruption, Dombi. Corruption, this government is corrupt. Let's be honest. The things that are actually happening now, from a local, provincial to a national level, there's corruption. But my goodness, you cannot now, when the country is happening, instead of us coming together and saying, how do we now work together? Why is it that they formed this GNU? Kanti, what is the purpose of this GNU? Isn't it that this GNU is being able to get every person's views so that they can be able to find a manner in which they can be able to find each other? And in finding each other, that means it can be able to represent everybody that is existing in this country, including Afrikaners themselves. So why this isolation? Why this support from the United States for them to be able to have their own self-independent, self-governance, self-ndonton, self-whatever it is? I find it very perplexing. When Malema in Parliament unpacked exactly what is the reason why the President of United States decided to do what he did, I understood him. The imperialist propaganda that is happening, it is finding an expression not only in South Africa, throughout Africa. And we cannot sit in a situation where, because now they are withdrawing certain things that I know, and you know what is so sad about the whole Afriforum congregation or group that goes and saying that they are representing Afrikaners, is the fact that they go there and perpetuate something that is not existing. And they're interpreting the Expropriation Act in a bad manner. And they are linking that with the killing. So that they can be able to get sympathy. And from then they're advocating for their own independence. And where are we? That is the most saddest thing about the story. And in this I know that when we are speaking, we are going to be selecting and finding segments of exactly what we're actually talking about. One, we're going to be featured in the video when Malema is expressing issues. We are also going to be featuring some of the segments.
Sorry, just kidding. Sort of, not really. But yeah, no, of course. I mean, it's your country. I mean, what at that point, what you know?
So I think what a better response from the US could be is to take a firm stance against what is happening in terms of what the South African government is doing, but then to say how can the US support minority groups in South Africa who are really working for some form of self-determination. I think America should recognize that it does have part in the problem in terms of what happened historically.
Are you kidding? Yes, it does. Big time.
Yes, and therefore it's reasonable, and I think it's fair, and I'm hesitant to say this because I'm not an American, but I think it's reasonable to say that America has some form of a moral responsibility. Not to fix South Africa, but at least to try to rework this mess that has been created, because it was involved in creating this mess. So the most sustainable solution is to help such communities to govern themselves, to have self-determination. And it's not only, obviously it would be in our interest, but I think it's also in the interest of the West and of America.
Well, just on principle, like every other group in the world has the right to its own homeland except white people? Like what?
Yeah.
Like tell me, just explain to me how that makes sense. Either no group has the right or every group has the right. Yep. It's really that simple. And if you want to say no group has the right, okay. You might even convince me. I don't know. I'm not a race guy, actually, by my temperament at all. I'd kind of like to ignore it. But as long as some groups have a right to self-determination, then every group has a right. It's that simple. Yes. And if there's a special carve-out where one group doesn't have a right, you have to explain to me why that group doesn't have that right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Is that fair?
No, it's absolutely fair. Well, I think South Africa is a...
What? I mean, what the hell is... Why are we playing along with this nonsense?
Yeah, it's this narrative has become this massive stream that is turned into rapids on a river that just pulls everyone along. And this narrative just says if you're white, then there's inherently something wrong with you.
It doesn't make any sense, and it's leading toward a really bad conclusion, obviously, as it has for every other group targeted in this way has really suffered in a bit, and there are a lot of them, okay? It's not, there are a lot of them.
Yep.
And it never ends up well. And I just don't know why we're playing along where you're not even allowed to say, oh, you haven't been. I don't care anymore, obviously. But again, either every group has a right to self-determination or no group does. About the mob justice. That does sound scary to me.
I think that's a bigger threat.
What do you do about that? How do you live in a country where, like your neighbors could rise up against you?
Yeah, so we've had some examples of this. It started with the Rhodes Must Fall movement. It was the
Rhodes. Oh, Cecil Rhodes.
Cecil John Rhodes, yeah. So this one guy defecated on Cecil John Rhodes' statue at, was it UCT? What university was it? In Cape Town. And then they started this movement.
He defecated on it.
Yeah.
That's attractive. Well, that's kind of like the level, actually, that you're dealing with, yeah.
And so they started this movement of tearing down statues, which eventually boiled over to America, and that's how it got to America. It started and it boiled out over to Europe and so forth. But it started with that, this targeting of statues. I think it was 2012 or something. It was maybe before that even. And it became a mob. And they wore T-shirts with slogans like "Kill the Whites," like on the T-shirt. And it became very violent and very overtly racist. and it was students running around just, setting things on fire, burning down buildings and stuff like that. So that is a real threat. And then later we had the fees must fall movement. That was university students demanding that education must be free. You shouldn't pay to go to university. And it was the same thing. And now we've had more recently we've had political parties sort of taken up that thing, this kill the boer and so forth. And so I honestly think in South Africa, the threat of mob violence is a bigger threat than the government.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And, that's where you get killed in situations like that, I think. So what do you have to be pretty well organized, pretty well armed.
Well, the thing is, there's no silver bullet. There's no one thing that we can do to make sure that we're equipped to withstand that. But if there is a silver bullet, it would be, or the closest to it would be what I mentioned earlier, is well-organized communities that have a sense of community.
Of the roots guy, who's explaining how they need to be able to have self-determination, self-segregation, and trying and saying that in this country there's Zulus, there's Tswanas, and there's whatever it is, and but we are united. We are all in this room, from a cultural perspective. You're Swati, you're Zulu, you're whatever it is, but did you see us creating camps of Swati, camps of Zulus, camps of Sutus, camps of whatever it is, and now they want to create a camps of Afrikaners?
They're taking us backwards. In fact, the likes of Mandela and other freedom fighters, they fought for a united South Africa democracy. But it looks like right now what is happening with these people who are representing less than 2 million people, minority, they're trying to take back South Africa. This thing of Orania, do you think when it's working? When you look at them, whenever there are disasters, they come back to us. Last time when there were floods, our government had to intervene and help them that side with aid.
So we're self-independent.
Self-independent. They also want to try to do that with Cape Town. They went and checked what is happening in the Western Cape, how it's already developed, and all of a sudden they want to make it an independent state, which it doesn't work.
I don't understand it.
They are talking about the killings of white farmers. Just last year, remember there are 2 women who were allegedly killed by white farmers, and they were fed to pigs. And they are not talking about farmers. Farm workers are dying more than the farmers themselves, but no one is saying anything. You don't see Afriforum, whenever there's anything that has to do with farmers, they come and they've got a strategy because they are good. They've got a PR company, or they are just good. They can come there and tell you, and they can tell the world how much South Africa, whatever is happening. But when that incident happened, when those 2 women were killed, nothing. They never said anything. Julius Malema was right. You touched what he said on the at Parliament. He's saying this thing is way beyond the aid. The aid thing it's just a scratch on the surface. Elon Musk is involved. He's been feeding Donald Trump whatever nonsense that has been. And as South Africans, we must not take this lying down. We must fight this. They must make sure that this Afriforum minority group must be investigated thoroughly, and no fear or favor. There must be no fear or favor. They must be investigated, because they are trying to divide South Africa right now. South Africans, we were not united. We are still a baby. The democracy is 30 years, but we are still trying. But they are setting us back right now.
Yeah, totally, Ndombi, totally. When I actually looked at the issues in terms of how they're sort of unpacking this thing, remember there was this issue of being able of taking away aid, and they did not say anything because the aid is not going to them.
Yes.
There was nothing about it. But when it came to economic transaction between the countries, they got in and said, no, on this AGOA deal, please don't take it away, because it's going to affect this and that and that and that and that, which means that it's going to affect their businesses. But when it comes to affecting everyone, every masses in this country, drawing aid from that, they don't even advocate for that not to be done, what they're advocating for is their self-independence, self-don and self-whatever it is.
Yes,
I just don't get to this particular issue. And you know, until we are able to sort of find each other as South Africans and be able to deal with our own problems as South Africans, this is going to continue. You know, democracy came with its own good and bad. And this is the bad part, where people can be able to just do willy-nilly and go and be able to represent South Africa as if it's a banana republic. This is not a banana republic. And therefore, what is important for us is being able to deal with them. The high treason investigation, you know, to be very honest with you, I cannot be going out of this country and speaking ill of a country where after that then I come back, then I said I don't want to leave. Because you've got a ninth generation you know, ancestral traits that is there, but at the same time you're saying that what are you exactly saying?
They are contradicting themselves.
But anyways, you know what I think we need to find resolve. I think the stance that is taken by government, I personally support it.
Yeah.
And Adam Motsoaledi has just said that, you know what, look, they are taking away aid. We don't owe Trump anything. The health minister, and therefore, you know what, let's just move.
Yeah.
Can you try and move? Africa, take ownership of Africa.
Yeah.
South Africans, let's take ownership of our things and of ourselves and be able to actually move. You know, it might be difficult from the beginning, but anyways. The second one.
Yeah.
The criminal syndicates that are finding a home in South Africa. You know, the criminal syndicates, are we really becoming a playground for criminal syndicates in this country? The one issue, just one touching point, is the one of the Gauteng couple that was found with pornographic material of children. And the worst part is that the girlfriend is the web designer, professional web designer of this site. And can you imagine the severity of this thing? I'm glad that they did not even get a bail. Because such crimes, and how it actually came about when you told me, Ntombi, can you just tell me that story? Can you repeat it again so that our viewers can understand and give an insight and background with regards to it?
Yeah. So late last year, this man, okay, they are a couple, but the man from Midrand, he was the one who was arrested first. And there was a tip-off, not from South Africa, not from intelligence, not from anywhere, but from the FBI. The US has been watching this particular couple, because they're saying the type of the pornography, like they target little kids, and they were making money not only here in South Africa. They are distributing this all over the world. That's how they were busted. Can you imagine this girl? She pleaded not guilty, but they are still attending a court case. Their court case is upcoming. This girl is like 22 years old. Herself, you can see with herself, she's been recruited, and it seems like this guy recruited him earlier. I suspect it's just allegations right now. But at this young age, she's already a professional web designer, and this is what she's dealing with. The type of the information and the what do you call it? The products that they are distributing. You can see what these people are professionals, and this thing is happening here in South Africa, in our backyard. No one is suspecting anything. If you check the place where this guy lives, there's little kids running around. It's a normal estate in Midrand. People were shocked. Neighbors were shocked to see like such an arrest happened and stood here in this environment. So South Africa is really like becoming a playground. Like some of the incidents that have happened, it's a lot.
The trafficking network
Yeah.
that is linking Dubai, that is linking Mexico, it is linking Bosnia, it's linking Brazil.
Brazil.
Huh?
Yeah.
Where you find that the major cities of this country are distribution hubs, where you find that these networks, they actually reach urban and rural areas. What is your take with regards to that? The drug bust, exactly. You know, it's been. I mean, every week in Tombi there's a drug bust that is actually happening, and you can see that there's cartels behind it,
and you can tell that these people are fearless. Look, just this week alone, a 55-year-old Nigerian national was arrested at OR Tambo International. He had allegedly ingested cocaine. He was caught, he was intercepted, he was traveling from Sao Paulo in Brazil. And this is not the first person. In the last 6 months, more than 12 people drug mules. One South African, a 21-year-old female. The rest, it's just foreign nationals. They've been intercepted at OR Tambo with drugs, meaning that they are fearless, they are not backing down. They can see there's a space, there's a niche. You'd find that more drugs are passing, like this drugs that they caught right now, like worth 6 million, is nothing compared to what consignment that might have already went through to whoever. And these people are well connected, mind you. They are well connected, and they are not. Just 5 days ago, there was a clandestine lab that was found in the west of Johannesburg.
Sure.
That lab, they found that these people are manufacturing their own drugs. So, this is worrying. Like, this is very worrying. I'm worried. I'm also concerned about the intelligence, our intelligence, SAPS. It seems as if, yes, in as much as we have intelligence, they are always caught off guard. Like most of the big cases or the big criminals that are being found or they are sorted, they are in the Interpol list. Most of the time you find that FBI is the one that is alerting us, or Interpol themselves. Like that Black Widow. Who's that woman? That Black Widow that was spotted in Cape Town recently. That woman is wanted for crimes of the highest crimes all over like the world, not only here in South Africa. You see, she found a way to South Africa, and she was caught with, she has an ID, our ID. So it's very concerning, Cindy.
So what did you say about our intelligence in this country?
We are sleeping. We are sleeping.
What is it really saying? I mean, like now let's take the issue of the illegal mining involving transnational crime syndicates. You know, in this country, the Benchmarks Foundation revealed that legitimate mining companies in South Africa are connected to these syndicates that are actually buying this illegal gold from these miners. Now, what is it really telling you about the syndicates in this country? We are really a playground for crime syndicates, and whether we like it or not, there is something that has to change, Ntombi. Because all these things that are actually happening, I'm not understanding. And you know, but it also goes back to what I was saying, that corruption has become such a systematic, challenging issue that we have in this country. Because whether we like it or not, it begins from there, because one official is being bribed, another one is connecting to another one is connecting to another one. So it becomes a soft target. This country is a soft target for criminals.
And our leaders are not making it any easier. I think our leaders, they lack that leadership. You look at people like President Cyril Ramaphosa. President Cyril Ramaphosa is a billionaire. Has he ever owned or opened a business or owned a spaza shop? Where is he getting all these billions? Like, it's about time we ask. We have created a platform to ask such questions. He's a billionaire. Where is his spaza or his first business that would make him a billionaire? People like Cyril Ramaphosa are easy people who were targeted by these white people who
From
gave
the
them
beginning.
from the
beginning.
in the NUM days. Cyril Ramaphosa as a shop steward,
Yes.
he was recruited by white people, and those people who are part of the syndicates, it's a big network. Those people recruited people like him. Look at him, he's got shares all over the place. You can't touch Cyril Ramaphosa. He's got shares everywhere.
He's our cupcake.
And Cupcake is getting away with everything. Pala pala, right now. We saw the evidence was there in the couches. But look at him right now, like he's thriving, like he's untouchable.
Oh my goodness.
Right now, when you're talking about the issue of the Zamazamas,
Yeah.
Zamazamas are just foot soldiers. There are bigger people behind that. Those people, it's so unfortunate, people died. We saw in Stilfontein, people were willing to risk their lives, were willing to lose their lives to protect whatever mineral that they got when they went, when they illegally went underneath to extract the gold or whatever minerals.
But it is quite shocking, though.
South Africa, let's wake up. Our leaders, we are lacking leadership. They might be in leadership positions, they are politicians, but those people are in the pockets of these big syndicates.
It is quite shocking, don't be that mining companies are also involved in this whole thing. So that means that whatever that they are trying to do they're doing in terms of smoking out illegal miners, it's just a smoke screen exercise. And where does it take us as South Africa? Where are we going to be going to as South Africa? But anyways, just, we are almost coming to an end of our first segment, but we could not. I mean, there's just two issues that are outstanding. The producer is like telling us 1 minute. This one we cannot, this has to be become part of the segment. Now, there's a case in the ConCourt. I'm like smiling. So my producer Robert, you married me, you can take my surname. You can. I welcome you to take my surname. So now there's this case, right? And that is in the Constitutional Court. So it says that South African men cannot at present take their wife's surname or have surnames that are hyphenated, right? But it appears that the Constitutional Court is actually going to be changing that. That is the first thing. That is the first thing. So Robert, you're taking my surname, Tata. So the background is that there's two men that decided that they wanted to take their wife's surname, and until they found out from the Department of Home Affairs that they could not. And now the case has been taken to the country's Constitutional Court or Apex Court. So now, according to those court papers, such laws and regulations from them, right? Yeah. The applicants, they're actually saying that it perpetuates gender norms set by a patriarchal society that entrenches gender inequality, and therefore they believe that Utabiso, you can take up my surname anytime. You can take up my surname anytime. So I just wanted to actually get your view with regards to that. For me, personally, as a woman, really, I wouldn't mind my men taking up my surname. So they're saying that it has to, that there is now we are very divided. Because the others are saying from a cultural perspective, how are you now going to be able to go and they say it has got a cultural connotation. It has got that thing where isiko, where us as black people, it has always been that from an ancestral point of view, when you're a woman, from a cultural, not ancestral point of view, from a cultural point of view, when you're a woman, when you get married to your husband, you're no more you're no more Cindy Ntonton. Now you are Cindy somebody, and then you follow the norms and the cultures and the values and whatever it is of that particular family. But I mean, I'm just saying that, hey, I wouldn't mind. Tell me, what is your view?
I think this is progressive. It's about time.
No. They shouldn't take it as if we were women. Gonjan,
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
You are allowed to express your own views, by the way.
Guys, our constitution allows, so why not? This is progressive. It's about time we even have this conversation, and it's about time we consider taking this. I mean, there are men who are in prominent positions like Penwell the Black Pen. He says he doesn't see anything wrong. He's even saying if his partner decides it's okay, like if they can discuss between the two of them and they decided to, baby, we're taking your surname, he does not see anything wrong. And this one activist, she also said this is very progressive. She says for men, it's gonna be difficult for most men to accept that. But that idea is just opening up something, a new conversation that we should be considering as people. And please feel free as people to tell us, to comment, to tell us as well, what's your take on this? What's your take on this? I'm so excited today. I was so excited to hear this thing even went to Apex. The Apex court is the highest court that you can go to. The fact that this thing is being discussed, it means that it can be considered. Those are men feel that they are going to be stripped of their identity. I mean, it's been happening all these years. Women, does this mean that women were being stripped of their identity and no one was representing them?
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah,
so we would like to hear from you in terms of what you think. And in particular, both genders, men and women, would love to understand and we would love to hear what is your view about it. I know that, there's cultural norms that has to be followed. I know that there's a lot that from a cultural perspective, but at the same time, we are living in a society where there's equality, and when there's equality, I think there's freedom of choice. So you can be able to actually choose. So if you want to take up my surname, you're more than welcome. You are more than welcome. But I would love to have your views. Would like to hear what you say. But you know what? Just to also end the story on the whole segment on a very lighter note. Don't be. So, men be dragging Somizi.
I dragged him, yo.
Who might be dragging Somizi with regards to his refusal to perform an event in East London. And I know that Somizi responded.
Somizi shows businessman the middle finger. Eastern Cape businessman Mabjezi Gekana was hoping to have an all-star birthday party built for the 1st and 2nd of March at the Absa Stadium in East London. Gekana had invited popular artists like Big Zulu, Ritabile Kumalo, DJ Tira, Khuzani Ntencane, and media personality Somizi Mhlongo amongst a host of other celebrities to grace his event.
I used to respect Somizi. I used to respect Somizi. I used to love Somizi. But what he did or she did, I don't know. What she or he or what. But what she did, I hate her or him from today. We are telling Somizi. And now it's a time to respect our local artists. Musha did well. Umusha was a part of the event. She did well. Or he did well. Yafana yonke lanto. uSomizi uzozenza unanti ku-president. Uzozenza who is Somizi? Uzozenza u-president. Thixo, njengobecinga ubhetele uyamuyisa phansi uThixo. Because what she did, bubusela laa nto, uba imali yomntu, wawuhambe uyomaketha i-event engakhange kubize. I receive calls ngapha nangapha, why usithi kwiposter yakho unoSomizi kodwa uSomizi uthi ku live wakhe xa ufika airport, let's meet somewhere. I'm not going to mention the name of the club because I am the club. Umdo wrong with artist le bendiyibize from Joburg to Eastern Cape. Izofika yona yenza amasimba apha. Nina nationals. Ayonda yo child intsangu Eastern Cape nina man. Ayonda yo child intsangu le province yase Eastern Cape. Ayonda yo child intsangu, ayonda uphambanele Eastern Cape. Abo bakufutshane noSomizi bamxelela ba singadibana endleleni kwentsuku betha ngempama. Aba ngempama bangambona endleleni uSomizi. Untshontsile uSomizi. Guys are working hard for the imali yethu. Umuntu angagqibi ne2 minutes. Awugqiba uthatha abantu kwi-event yakho uhamba nabo uya kwenye event. Kodwa ubhukwe nguwe uSomizi. Andifuni imali yam back, makayitye. Akayitye ahluthe mpu. Guys umuntu angagqibi ne2 minutes. And akaqali uSomizi ukwenza lento. uSomizi wafika kwiBerlin November. Wathi hayi ebantwini wawayivisa kwiBerlin November. Awugqiba wehle stage ohlale hotel the whole day. Uyaphinda futhi. uSomizi usithatha njengantoni? Somizi. Sizigaka pha kuwe Somizi.
Listen.
We are on the flight. He says he will pick us up. Yena Buqubaki. He knows the flight details. Sharp. We arrive. He's not there. We call. He hasn't left the hotel. Now, I must wait at the airport for 25 minutes. Melanie and I, no, I don't work like that. Because I want to get off the plane, straight into my car, waiting for me. I'm not supposed to be waiting for the car as an artist or a talent. Sharp. I immediately request Uber from my pocket. Uber arrives, we leave. Then he calls. The car is 17 minutes away, and then we tell him, no, with Uber, don't bother. Sharp. We leave. I'm already Senkwati. Sharp. We get to the hotel. We check in. As I'm signing my room paper, my manager signs, they give us a speed point. I'm like, speed point? But you know, the rooms have been paid for. My manager calls Squealy. Squealy, the rooms are not being paid for. He says, wait for us at reception. I'm like, yo, we wait. Wait at reception. No, I'm not waiting at reception. I'm tired.
He claimed that they waited at the hotel and they were later told that they were going to perform at 10 p.m. Even though they were told that the gig would end at 6 p.m. He said he arrived at the event and he was not impressed with the standards.
That event was a flop. Flop. The stage is a corner, guys. Itafula. Literally, itafula. If you can get injured there, it's game over. I don't know what was the whole thing about, but something was off about that event. Something was off. Ask any artist that was there, they will tell you. Ask any audience member that was there, they will tell you. I met people at the reception of the hotel who came for the event. They said, what a waste of our time. Their experiences were worse than that. I met artists that told me that were playing there, which they've ended up spending more money from their own pockets to cover certain things. And he knows the truth.
But I could not help just the way, in terms of, he sort of articulated this issue that is trending, you know? And I think in ending this note, we wanted to end that with that particular segment that we're going to be including. And I think it would be right for us to also include Somi's comment as well.
Yeah.
Because so that we are balanced. We don't want to be sued, people. So it's better that we actually make sure that everything of ours is balanced. But sure, Somizi and Norman B, he actually made my week, by the way. But you know, so tell me, what did you think of it, by the way?
Yeah, you know, before getting to Somizi's response, I mean, men be really like, Somizi trended for days because of that non-show. I mean, men be felt that he was disrespected. This person, this public figure with more than 45 years experience in this industry did not pitch for a gig. So that's why Mendy did not let it go. And I'm hoping our followers will enjoy.
I'm hoping that they will actually enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
So that is our parting shot, family. I hope you actually enjoyed this segment. This is our second segment for the year, by the way. And so if you haven't subscribed, look, beyond the headlines, as we had indicated, that looks into intricacies of issues and look at a whole lot more of issues. That there's a lot more that we're going to be discussing, that we're going to be unpacking. But
State Marco Rubio saying that South Africa's ambassador to the US is no longer welcome in that country. In a post on X, Rubio accused Ebrahim Rasool of being a race-baiting politician who hates America and also basically said does not like Donald Trump over remarks he had made during an online speech about foreign policy. So Nick Harper, our correspondent, has more from Washington on that.
Well, normally in these type of situations when an ambassador is deemed to be a persona non grata, that is something that takes immediate effect. It is unclear exactly how quickly he would be expected to leave the country, but the implicit implication in all of this that it is as soon as possible. Now, it's not normally the case that ambassador would be frog marched to the airport and put on the next available plane home. But the expectation is that essentially relations between that ambassador and the country that they've been living in is severed almost as quickly as is possible. So there is a chance that he will have to clear out of the residency in Washington during the course of this weekend and head home. We don't have an exact time frame of how all of this will play out, but from the United States point of view, this statement from the Secretary of State is final. There is no suggestion that they will back down from this. It is the ultimate in terms of diplomatic relations, in terms of diplomatic endings, this statement being very much the final word from the US administration. Marco Rubio also in that statement making it clear that the US had no further things that it would be willing to discuss with the ambassador as part of considering him now a persona non grata.
Nick, thank you very much indeed. Meanwhile, South Africa's presidency saying it's noted the expulsion of South Africa's ambassador to that country, of course, that being Ebrahim Rasool. You saw that X post by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, him basically saying that the ambassador was no longer welcome in the United States of America. In that post by Rubio, in case you've not seen it, he basically accused Rasool of hating America and, as I said in our earlier story, of hating President Donald Trump. Let's take a listen to what the presidential spokesperson here in South Africa, Vincent Magwenya, had to say.
The presidency has noted the regrettable expulsion of South Africa's ambassador to the United States of America, Mr. Ebrahim Rasool. All relevant and impacted stakeholders to maintain the established decorum in their engagement with the matter. Remains committed to building a mutually beneficial relationship with the United States of America.
For this particular segment, we would like to actually thank you. Thank you. Don't be, just give your thanks as well,
Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Please continue to subscribe, like, share, comment. Let's engage. We're calling on you guys that we must engage more often so that we can know if we are on the right track.
On that note, myself, Cindy Sashangan, and Tom Binkosi, our surnames are available. Our surnames are available. It's going to the Constitutional Court, and if the Constitutional Court is for the favor of taking up a woman's, your wife's surname or your surname, I love it. Let's see. But your comments will be appreciated. Thank you for joining us. We love and appreciate you.